Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to Today in Bitcoin. Today is February the 8th, 2017, and it's Today in Ethereum Classic also. First off, thanks for the guy who sent me the dash. And thank you to the people at Linda's giftsdirect.com. I got a link to them below. They got me this Bitcoin shirt here that I'm wearing. I actually have a few, and I'll be wearing them in future episodes, so you guys can get them there. The discount link is below. You can use your Dogecoin, your Litecoin, your Bitcoin to get it there. They're big fans of cryptocurrency over there. Good way to use your Dogecoin. All right, so we got a really special guest on the show today. It's Carlo Vicari of IOHK, and he's going to talk about Ethereum Classic. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on. Great to finally be on the show. I know you've been putting out a whole ton of videos. People are talking. It's a great show, man. Thanks for doing it. You do a lot for the blockchain community, so we're all feeling it.
Well, thank you, Carlo, and thank you for coming on the show. I'm glad we made this possible. A lot of people are talking Ethereum Classic out there because there's been recent price surges. Now, explain. I think there's some people have heard of you before, actually, because you work for IOHK. Explain IOHK, what they have to do with the Ethereum Classic and what you have to do with IOHK.
Yeah. So the connection between IOHK and Ethereum Classic, I guess, is, well, the first connection is Charles Hoskinson, who's the CEO and founder of IOHK, and he was one of the original founding members of Ethereum. He left after a period of time, and the project continued on without him. And then he started IOHK with Jeremy Wood, and so they kind of went their separate ways. But after the fork, after the DAO incident last year, the Ethereum Classic community kind of gathered to do their thing and organize themselves in a particular way. And I was just I guess in a volunteer aspect, contributing to the project as much as I possibly could. But thankfully, IOHK came along, or Charles came along, and helped, commit me to doing as much as I could for the Ethereum Classic community. So I'm not anything official for ETC, because since it's a completely decentralized community, there's no official anything for ETC. There's just people that try to work on it as much as they can and care about the project. And I still do, care a whole ton about the project, and I do as much as I possibly can for them. But in an official capacity, I am with IOHK, and they're committing me to helping on ETC.
All right, so this is a very important point that everyone should understand, and it's good that you pointed out. There is no central authority in Ethereum Classic at all. There is no authority figure who can scare everyone into doing something either. And your company doesn't want to be that. And you guys are taking a vocal stand when it comes to Ethereum Classic, but you don't own the thing called Ethereum Classic, and you guys aren't in charge of it. So that's, and you said it yourself. This is about decentralization. This is not about central authority. And I think it's good you clarified that, because as we remember, the Ethereum Classic was born out of controversy, the biggest controversy of 2016 in cryptocurrency. And it had a lot to do with a central authority, or an authority figure, kind of pushing things toward a certain direction, which created a fork. Perhaps you can explain what you think happened there. How was Ethereum Classic born?
It looked like there was a vote. I don't know if the vote that was carried out was to support something that they had already decided they were going to do, or for those of anyone listening don't know, there was a carbon vote carried out that said that it had like 80% support, but really a whole ton of people didn't vote at all. So it's either A or B. Either they knew they were going to do the fork and just wanted something as evidence to, kind of like support what they were going to do anyway, or they were actually looking at this vote and deciding to go forward, or see some unknown, bunch of ideas and discussions that went on in the background to ultimately go through with this fork that split the network. And a lot of people just thought that the secondary network was going to die. There's actually an interesting post. It was called Two Chains. I'll try to link you to that. Maybe you can put it in the description. It was a post that someone made on Reddit before the fork, and he kind of laid it all out for exactly what was going to happen. It's a great post. I still read it sometimes just to laugh about it. But yeah, he really broke it down from like I don't know if he has a doctorate in game theory or something, but he laid it out for every single step that was going to happen.
I think we should take a couple steps back just in case for people who don't know the entire story. What happened? There was a coin called Ethereum out there, and
right.
then there was a hack, and there was something called the DAO. So give people the backstory on that real quick too, a real quick summation of that.
Yeah, true. Sorry about that. So originally there was one chain, the Ethereum chain, and what happened was there was a smart contract called the DAO. It's a decentralized autonomous organization, and it ended up being a monster of a smart contract. They didn't know that it would be a $150 million contract. And a lot of the security measures that were in this contract were, I guess you could say subpar is a bit of an understatement. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. There were security holes in the contract, and someone took advantage of one of these security holes and started draining the DAO. A whole ton of money was drained. I think, I'm not sure about the exact numbers, but I know it was a lot of money. And so the community, I'll just say the community in general, started talking about reversing this transaction to get the money back, which I guess from a moral perspective or from an ethical perspective seems like the right thing to do, since you can recover funds to what are essentially the rightful owners. Now, there's a group of people that believe that code is law and this wasn't theft at all. And then there's people who believe that this was theft, but it shouldn't be something that should be handled by the protocol. So I'm in the latter group. I do think it was theft. I think it was an obvious misuse of the contract, but I don't think that reversing the transaction on the blockchain is the right thing to do, because it nullifies the entire point of the blockchain, in my opinion. Now, there are other opinions out there, and I respect, their right to have their opinion on this matter. But me personally, I think reversing the transaction, it goes against the entire point of having a blockchain. So that's how you get the two camps. You have the people with ETC that believe that. So to boil it down, you have the network split into two camps, where you have ETC, which is a lot of people who don't believe in the transaction reversal, and you have people who are part of the Ethereum community that believe that this one-time transaction reversal is okay. But
once you get rid of immutability when you do this one-time thing, that immutability is valued by a lot of people, clearly, because that's how Ethereum Classic was born, because they believed in that.
And Bitcoin.
And that was what my next, actually, that's a great segue. That's a great segue. So before there was Ethereum Classic, there was a lot of, in the Bitcoin community, there were a lot of Ethereum people kind of saying, we're catching up with you guys. There was this competition. And I think a lot of Bitcoin people were turned off. But then when they saw these events come about, it almost felt like Ethereum Classic was the Ethereum for Bitcoin people, for at least the Bitcoin people who strongly like people taking stands for immutability. So what do you think about that? Ethereum Classic as the Ethereum for Bitcoin people.
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny, because the atmosphere before ETC was a whole lot different. If I would go to a meetup or to a conference, and then when I would go to a conference after ETC, a lot of Bitcoin people were, a lot of support, which was cool. They were like, go ETC, which is good to hear. At conferences, meetups, and stuff like that. So the most maximalist of people were all of a sudden supporting, Ethereum in a sense, which was really cool.
Real quick, one thing we didn't mention. What does IOHK stand for?
Input Output Hong Kong. So, but they have people all over the place. Their research network is unbelievable. They have incredible developers, incredible, people all over the world. It's pretty wild. That I didn't really get a scope of it until I joined. Another thing they're doing for ETC, they have the Grothendieck team, named after Alexander Grothendieck, who is a mathematician. Since Charles was a mathematician for a time, or he wanted to be a mathematician, he loves all these guys. So it's 7 developers that they've committed to creating a Scala client for ETC, and they're working on that right now. They just released a stand-up meeting for the public to see, which is pretty cool. So maybe I'll send that over to you. But yeah, those guys are doing great work.
Well, yeah, please send me as many links as you want. There are already links below this video, but we'll have some more links soon enough after the video is over, and I'll be chatting in the chat afterwards with everyone. But we're still in the middle of this one.
Let me write this down now. So 2 Chains and Grothendieck.
Okay, good.
Otherwise, I'm gonna forget.
Well, you can watch the video again, and then you'll see.
Okay, you got me.
So what you're doing? You're a marketing guy. That's awesome. I think what I have noticed that obviously this was the Ethereum Classic was born out of it was very community oriented from the beginning. I felt like. So I think you're encouraging people to market you're doing your thing. I don't think you're marketing, but you're encouraging other people to market too. You have a show out there, and I got to remember to link to your show. What's it called? What's it called? ETC Today.
Let's talk ETC, paying homage to let's talk Bitcoin.
Yeah. So let's talk ETC. I haven't linked to that yet, but I will link to that below. And there are some great episodes out there. There was one, the one that I've listened to in full. There was a guy named Jerry on there who was like awesome. And the one thing that he brought up that was very, very, very interesting to me, he talked about how there's 3 almost competing groups in Ethereum Classic that kind of serve as checks and balances to each other: the miners, the developers, and the investors. And they, they all care about sort of different things, and they have to get along so that Ethereum Classic progresses. So yeah, do you agree? Do you like that? I thought that was a good comparison there.
Oh no, it was a great show. I get a lot of compliment, or not that I get the compliments, but a lot of compliments go out to Jerry for that show, and a lot of people still listen to that. And yeah, those 3 constituencies are definitely important: the miners, the developers, and the investors. And oftentimes you'll see in different cryptocurrency projects or blockchain projects, when those 3 work harmoniously, you get some really cool things that start to happen. So that checks and balances aspect, I think, definitely applies.
So do you work with all 3 of those? Who do you but from what I gather from that show is, like, Jared was talking about the investor's perspective. Do you more so work with the developers, or who do you encounter most?
Honestly, I give up respect and credit to all 3 of those groups. I just do my best to assist them in whatever way possible. But I'd say I work with all 3 pretty frequently. I just try to make their lives easier, since they're really the ones that keep this project moving. I'm such an interchangeable part that I want to make that clear. The important parts are those 3 guys. So I just try to help them in any way that I can.
And again, it's not centralized. You are just your own, part of a company that's come in there and just trying to, you're trying to have your say. It's not like you guys own it. I want to make that clear, because people are going to say, well, wait a second, did they split from Ethereum because they didn't want to be central? They didn't want to have a dictator? And yeah, that's true. But there is no dictator in Ethereum Classic. There is no worship.
It's a true meritocracy, which is really awesome.
Okay, and I think that is cool, and I think that's what Bitcoin people admire. So there are issues, and one that I have an opinion on is deals with the monetary policy. Right now, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no limit on the amount of Ethereum or Ethereum Classic that's going to be made. But you there's a proposal out there to limit Ethereum Classic to 210 million ever produced. And that is very nice because that's actually 10 times the amount of Bitcoin that will ever be produced. It's just 210 million is 10 times 221.
Correct,
I just think I think it sets up a very interesting parallel where Ethereum Classic could try to be very, very complementary of Bitcoin. But ignoring the numbers there, what do you think about that move, about a limit, getting a limit?
Yeah, I'm for a cap. Now a lot of people that I guess were anti-cap, you could say, against the cap. They said that it's arbitrary and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm not an economist. I'm not a monetary policy expert or anything like that. But a lot of my counter to the arguments I saw from the people against the cap is that it's arbitrary and this, that, and the other thing. But I mean, humans are arbitrary people. So for better or for worse, if putting a cap on something appeals to their arbitrariness, then I think it's for the better of the network. And if it helps increase network awareness and it helps get the network off the ground, I'm all for it. And I think that there's a number of other reasons that I think a cap is definitely the way to go.
Well, I think it's definitely the way to go, simply because it's not inflationary. I mean, it's right now there could be no one knows how many are going to be produced at the time. So why, if you own 100 now, that it might seem like a lot now of Ethereum Classics, but if they end up making 1 billion of them, then what the heck? You have to know the limit. I mean, this is what the basis of Bitcoin is. There's only going to be 21 million ever there. To leave it up in the air makes the coin weak, I think. It makes it
that's my opinion as well. Although the people that were against the cap, they laid out some things that it's not. I don't think it's completely black and white, but I'm definitely in the cap camp, I guess.
And so when will that be decided, or do you know? Is there a date, or what's the progress with that?
I guess you could say that's the thing about a decentralized community. It's hard to have specific timelines on things, this and that. But I know that after the bomb delay, this is something that's going to be decided sooner rather than later. So I think in the next few months, or 3 or 4 months, I would say, max.
Let's talk about the bomb delay and proof of stake versus proof of work, because right now, Ethereum Classic ETC is proof of work, and so is Ethereum. But the original plan, when there was just one chain, was to go to proof of stake eventually. And so there are many people in Ethereum Classic who want to stay proof of work, and I think that's a good move on their part. Especially, well, okay, tell me what you think about that and the different scenarios that might arise out of that, and talk about the bomb and all that.
Well, for me, it's two things. I guess the number one thing is that I believe proof of work is a tried and true method. And also, I think number two is that it's a good way for us to diverge from Ethereum and be our own project. And under point number one, there's a bunch of sub-bullet points on what makes proof of work. It has many advantages over proof of stake. And I think Andreas gives a lot of great talks about the benefits of proof of work over proof of stake. Number one, we talked about checks and balances from earlier. And one of those checks and balances is having something outside of the network, giving the network value, and it's not internal. He speaks about it a lot better than I can. So I think if we link the viewers to that as well in the video, it'll give, it gives a nice, 3 or 4 bullet point breakdown about what makes proof of work, better in a lot of ways than proof of stake. Now, it's definitely a debate to be had, and it's not such a black and white thing, but there are pros and cons on both sides for proof of stake and for proof of work, and people can read those pros and cons and make up their minds on their own.
Okay, send that link, definitely. So out of that question, and explain what this bomb thing is. I don't fully understand the bomb, and I'm sure a lot of people don't.
So what Ethereum, originally cooked into their protocol was a bomb to, I guess, push them along to make a decision or get work done about certain things. And the other thing that it also did, the secondary effect, was to help move the network and make sure everyone moved, because this bomb was set up so that it made mining extremely unprofitable, and it kicked in exponentially to a point that if you stayed on the chain with the bomb, you would not be able to mine profitably. So you would have a major incentive to move over to the chain that had the protocol upgrade or update on it. So it was two purposes: to get them to move internally, and externally to help move all the miners and users and people on the network to the updated chain. So it was kind of a 1-2 punch to have everybody move in the right direction. And since after the DAO fork, we inherited this issue, I guess not really an issue since they put it in there purposely, but yeah, so we inherited this difficulty bomb, and that was successfully delayed on the January update and pushed back to later this year, which we anticipate, or the community anticipates, making a lot of different decisions about the protocol before that bomb starts to kick in again.
Okay, that's a very good explanation of what it is. I like that. Does Ethereum still have the bomb cooked into them?
Yes, I believe they do, but they have a lot of development resources devoted to delaying it if necessary. I'm not sure when that difficulty increases for them, but it's not something. It's almost like the when you have the resources that they have, it's almost like the, what is it in the Senate, the when they raise the debt ceiling, it just comes before the Senate and they raise the debt ceiling like right away. It's not, it's nothing to even really think about. So them with the bomb, it's more like kicking a can down the road than such a big project.
Now, what do you think about this scenario? You got the Ethereum Classic stays proof of work, but Ethereum does go proof of stake. Will Ethereum fork again? Will there be people in their community that'll be like, no, we don't want to go proof of stake. We want to stay proof of work. Are there going to be 3 Ethereums eventually? I mean, it looks to me, if they go proof of stake, I think they're going to be 3 Ethereums. I think.
I don't know about that. I would hope not, because that would be pretty fragmenting. I'm okay with 2 fragments, but I think 3 would be a bit much for my brain to contain. I don't think so, because I think yeah, now don't quote me on this, I'm not 100%, but I think if and when they do move to proof of stake, there's going to be a difficulty bomb. I guess potentially there would be a difficulty bomb that someone could decide to defuse. So I mean, anything's possible after what happened last year. So I'm not going to prognosticate, but yes, I guess it's a potential possibility. The thing is, I think that now that there's a proof of work community in the ETC community and the proof of stake community with Ethereum Foundation, I think anyone that really has that inclination would kind of be assimilated into our project. At least in my mind, that's how it would play out.
Yeah, I think Tone Vase gave a scenario where if Ethereum went proof of stake, that the proof of work miners would just all of a sudden say, "Oh, we're gonna mine Ethereum Classic now. That's what we're gonna go over," and it would help. I'm telling you that I theorize that if Ethereum goes proof of stake, it's going to help the price of Ethereum Classic a lot, because I don't like proof of stake. I think a lot of people don't like proof of stake, and there'll be a lot of interest in Ethereum Classic. But we'll see how it goes. It's just this is it's very interesting. It's very interesting stuff. Are you so going back to the 210 million limit or possible limit, and the comparison to Bitcoin? Are you personally okay with Ethereum Classic acting as a sort of and we talked about this in the Litecoin video yesterday, but this would be a little bit different, but the silver to Bitcoin's gold. I mean, are you guys trying to be the big kahuna? Or when I say you guys, I mean Ethereum Classic.
You know, I guess maybe I have a different opinion on this, and I've even posted in the Ethereum Reddit. I posted like a friendly competition post. I just think it's so early in blockchain. I mean, in our bubble, it feels like, you know, it's so late and so developed, and oh, you know, one of these chains it's gonna be one chain to rule them all really soon. The race is almost over. But luckily, I have a network of people in New York that are so non-techie that it keeps me really grounded as to how early this really is. And you know, even Bitcoin, what's the market cap on Bitcoin right now? 16 billion.
Yeah,
16. Yeah, 16 billion in the grand scheme of things. You know, compare it to any company on the Fortune 500 or anything like that. It is just so minuscule. It's a big world out there with a lot of resources, and 16 billion we haven't even left the starting line. You know, everyone just got to the starting line, and we haven't even started to run yet. So as far as being the big kahuna, I think, you know, there could be 10 chains that are big kahunas in the future. It's so difficult to say because it's so early. So I just think that the one chain to rule them all scenario, it's way too tough to call at this point. Because I mean, you know, what's like a $16 billion company in the Fortune 500 right now? It's like AOL or something. I don't even know.
So this actually reminded me of a question I asked Charlie Lee. So in the year 2020, you don't have any predictions for how many altcoins will be the major survivors. You said something like, you know, there could be 10 big kahunas in the future, but how about let's talk 2020, because that's a nice even year, and it's
okay.
Not too close, not too far. How many?
Okay, so to me, I think the best way to think about the viable altcoins would be if you could graph how many altcoins kind of like are being produced per year. And then I think you'd find that in 2020, there would be kind of a nice bell curve, you know, as there typically is in life of, you know, I guess you'd say, you know, coins that don't really mean much, you know, way at one end, then everybody kind of battling it out in the middle, and then the tippy top, you know, 5 or 10% of coins that are really interesting projects that are doing cool things. So how many altcoin projects are there now? You know, like
700 or something. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, 700.
Yeah.
Okay, so and the interesting projects of those are about probably like 25, right? 25 or 30. So like 5%, give or take. So if in 2020 there's 7,000, maybe, because it seems like it's taking off kind of exponentially.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of scams in there. My God.
Yeah, it's gonna be
it's 7,000. You're gonna stumble upon. I mean, how many legitimate ones though?
Right. No. So I'm saying out of those 7,000, if you take 5%, then I'd say there's probably going to be like 100 pretty interesting projects in the year 2020.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Tell us about this.
Guesstimate.
There's some news here. We've heard about the ETF. We've an Ethereum Classic ETF. We've heard about Barry Silbert. Tell us about first of all, Barry Silbert, he's got some provocative tweets about ETC sometimes, and then we hear about this ETF. So tell us about both these aspects of ETC.
I got to say that I'm pretty much as informed as the general public is about these things. Being I'm just still, you know, a little small fish helping out. But I mean, I'm interested. Grayscale, what they put out there is pretty great stuff. I guess their interest comes from the community's interest to cap the amount of ETC in the network, which is I guess something that makes it easier to make a prospectus or a proposal to investors when there's a hard cap on something. And also I think the fact that a lot of the potential centralization that came along with the Ethereum Foundation has been shed. So we are similar to Bitcoin, like you said earlier, in a lot of ways, and that's something that I guess they feel that can be sold to investors, and they believe in the project in a big way. So just being considered for something like that is a pretty big honor, and a lot of people in the community are really happy about it.
And what are your thoughts on Barry Silbert?
Oh, I mean, I think he's done a ton for the blockchain community for a long time. So he's involved in too many things for me to even keep track of in my head. So he's doing a lot, and I think he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's okay. Very, very interesting. And I want to hear your opinion. This is not about Ethereum Classic, but you can probably tie it in somehow. What are your thoughts on the Bitcoin SegWit versus unlimited controversy? Where should Bitcoin go? And any thoughts on the Litecoin SegWit also?
You're trying to get me in trouble. Bitcoin SegWit versus Bitcoin unlimited. Oh boy. I just whatever they can do to not fork would be great. Which is something that no one was talking about at all until like it just popped up in my feed 3 days ago. I've got too much work to look into all this stuff, but that kind of threw me for a tumble, and I read a little bit. That would be absolutely wild, and so whatever they can do to just not fork would be really, really something. That would be great. So that's all I want now. Before I was reading like about pros and cons, SegWit versus the block site. Now the only thing that I'm focused on that's coming to my brain is, please, for the love of God, don't fork, please.
That's why I had that question written down. That's why I had it. I now remember why I wanted to ask you, because it does have to do, obviously it's a huge, it's very much has to do with Ethereum, because everyone should have learned the lesson from what happens when there's a hard fork. This is what happens. We wouldn't be having this conversation if it were not for a past hard fork. That was there's the lesson of the day, everyone. So yeah, you're consistent there. It's very good.
Now there's a fallacy actually that goes along with this. So after the hard fork with Ethereum, people added up the two networks and said, oh, well, look, it's split, and now the network's worth more than before the fork. This wasn't a bad thing. But that's not necessarily true, because let's say you had some sort of bizarro or alternate universe where the network didn't fork. Who's to say that maybe there would have been a ton of investor confidence from a million places, and Ethereum, just saying hypothetically, could be at 2 billion market cap or 3 billion market cap. It's hard to say these things. It's hard to look at the numbers and just say, oh, it was worth more after the fork, therefore it was good. So even if Bitcoin split into two equal parts, you can't put your finger on it and say that if they didn't fork, maybe the network would have increased by 30% as opposed to 5%.
Let me add to that. People have very short memories, apparently, too. Before the DAO happened, Ethereum was on fire. There was so much momentum. The momentum, people were thinking this is going to go to $50. Okay, I mean, this was. Yeah. I didn't necessarily think that, but there was momentum out there, and there was a lot of excitement that is no longer out there with Ethereum. What happened destroyed that momentum. So, I mean, right now, if that never happened, and people might get angry or like bitter about this, I mean, Ethereum could be at $100, and it might be based on completely nothing, just all that momentum, but it still could be true. If that had not have happened, Ethereum as a unbreakable unit that never forked, I mean, it could be at $100 now, and that it did. So again, if Bitcoin forks, it will destroy that momentum that we're all feeling with Bitcoin. Everyone's feeling the Bitcoin momentum now. Everyone's feeling that, like, we're going 1,700 this summer or whatever. I mean, you can feel the momentum. If it all of a sudden forked, it would be, oh my God, it wouldn't get to 1,700 ever, probably. I don't know. I mean, that's my opinion. We
can't talk about this too much. You're going to ruin my day.
All right, so I guess we'll wrap things up right now.
No, it's cool.
I do want to say there are people out there, I know they still exist, that still own Ethereum from before the fork, and they haven't done a thing with their Ethereum. They're not technical geniuses or anything. They can still get Ethereum Classic off of their Ethereum, and quickly tell them the easy thing they can do. It's pretty darn easy.
Yeah. So using their public and private key, they have ETC as well as Ethereum. So if they just use one of the nodes or the official like Ethereum Foundation parity or whatever it is, if they use that and put in their public and private key, they're going to have their Ethereum, and that same public and private key also correspond to ETC on our network. If you use follow, you'll put the links maybe in the description for the Ethereum Classic Geth or the Ethereum Classic parity client.
It wasn't, and also I thought there was an easy, like a simpler explanation to, if you just use my Ether. What's that website? My Ethereum wallet, my Ethereum. What's that?
Classic Ether. What? Classic Ether wallet.
There was. I thought there was just a simple wallet that just split it for you or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe my Ether wallet might do that, the splitting as well. But also one of the things that people used to do was send it to the exchanges to split automatically.
Yeah, but it doesn't work anymore.
Right, since one of the last updates, that doesn't work anymore. So a lot of the advice is just to use the separate clients and use the same public and private key to get your separate Ethereum versus Ethereum Classic.
Okay, well, we'll post in a few minutes after the video is done. I'll get some explanation. I'll post it underneath, like some steps people can follow if they need it. All right. Well, Carlo, you've been quite a guest today. I enjoyed everything. Do you have any additional thoughts? Anything we didn't cover today?
No, I think that's pretty much everything. I have to say, not everything that I have to say, but something that I wanted to ask you, and I'd love to be able to bring some of the developers and some of the other Ethereum Classic community members on your show. The people that really do a lot of the hard work behind the scenes, and I just try and communicate that to everybody. But I'd love to help set something up and bring some of these awesome people on your show, if that's cool.
Well, awesome people are great. And you know what? We mentioned Jerry before. He is going to be on the show on Friday, actually. So people, he's from the community, and people know him over in Ethereum Classic land. He's going to be on our panel show on Friday. And he'll talk some Ethereum Classic, and just, he's got a real interesting perspective on cryptocurrencies and what they stand for and everything. A really interesting guy. So yeah, we got him coming on. And of course, I welcome anyone out there. If you're a legitimate person, you're not trying to pass anything off on anyone or try to centralize anything. Come on, email Adam at trezorhelp.com if you think you have a good idea for an episode, and we'll talk about it. Yes, so there will be more Ethereum Classic people on this show, Carlo. Yes, there will.
Definitely. So I'll connect you with some of the devs, Charles, and a bunch of other community members, and I'll try and line up a bunch of good stuff.
Well, hey, the more perspectives we have, the better. The more we talk, because everyone knows I'm the Bitcoin Meister, obviously, but there's so many people out there that are interested in other altcoins and kind of the philosophy of cryptocurrency, and we're going to be jumping into all of these topics. So I think that's it. Then we've covered everything, correct? Thank you. Sir. Thank you, Carlo, for being on the show today. You were awesome. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I'll be in the chat session after this. Maybe Carlo will too. Who knows?
Yeah, I'll join.
Oh, awesome. All right. Well, everyone, I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Remember to subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video. Check out the videos from yesterday. We had a Zimbabwe video. We had, obviously, Charlie Lee on yesterday. And just tweet everything out. Spread the word. I post at least one new video here every day. So bye-bye for now, everyone.
Thanks for having me on. Take care, guys.
See ya.